And today, Charter Hall making some news. The property investor looking like it's making a bit of a foray into equity investing by taking a 50% stake in Paradise Investment Management. So Luke, I'll start with you first. What do you think of Charter Hall? And secondly, what do you think of this move?
Yeah, look, I think it caught me by surprise. It's obviously been a while since I've looked at Charter Hall, being one of the large caps on the ASX, but obviously property manager is what it's been for its long life, and the move into listed equities. You read the presentation today, and there's some good logic behind it, and I think Charter Hall management have probably earned the right for the trust of the market if they are going to make a strategic pivot like this. They've done very well in that property management space for such a long period of time. But even if you go back and read old presentations, the way they communicate to the market, they probably see themselves more than just property managers. They see themselves as sort of fund managers in a sense, and asset managers. And so it's a logical move to move down this equity path, doing it through an established brand like Paradise, where you would share, I guess, a lot of institutional clients and a lot of distribution networks you would both have. It seems to make a lot of sense. You got it up there. Stock's off a little bit today. If I look at the transaction, I don't think they've stretched on that, about 10 times earnings. No disclosures if there's any performance fees in that, which I think is a big one. Obviously, for fund managers, you can get lumpy earnings around that. But other than that, it looks okay. I think, like I said, there's execution risk, no doubt about that, a property manager moving into equities. But like I said, I think this management team deserves the benefit of the doubt. And I think Paradise is a good manager, a good brand name. So I would hold the stock if you're in there. It's a little bit expensive, so I'd struggle to come in and say buy, and I think you have taken on some execution risk. But if you're there, I would definitely continue to hold, and I would wait to see how this plays out over the coming months and years.
Yeah, Michael, Luke makes some really good points there. I mean, Charter Hall's really just knocked it out of the park recently. I mean, dividends alone up 40% over the last 5 years, so a really great track record there. Paradise also has a wonderful track record. So it seems to be a pretty sensible thing, but the market doesn't like it.
Yeah, look, I mean, Charter Hall, along with Goodman Group, have probably been the two preeminent property managers or developers on the market for the last decade or so. The share price performance has been incredible. And the performance of their underlying investments and their sale and leaseback opportunities have been very, very good to them. So to see them move away from their knitting, if you like, and focus on an entirely different asset class would come as a little bit of a surprise to most people in the market, and it certainly did to myself. Ultimately, I think, look, if you're just in there as a passive investor in something like Paradise, I think it can work. Obviously, if the in-house equity management team of Paradise stay on board and David Paradise, the founder and CEO, remain within that business, I can see it certainly working. I mean, you look at things like Pinnacle. Pinnacle's basically an owner of different fund managers, and they've managed to pull that off across a number of different asset classes. So perhaps Charter Hall sees an opportunity to emulate what Pinnacle's done to some extent and making the first tentative steps in that direction. But look, I do think it's going to be a little bit of a distraction in the short term, particularly for a lot of investors who just wanted that pure property play. So I can see why the market's taken it as a bit of a negative, but long term, if they can pull it off and derive value, then it could turn out to be a brilliant decision. But I think time will tell, as the saying goes, and I think for now, the property investments are what's going to really drive this business. So look, I quite like the company. We don't own it. We've owned Goodman Group over Charter Hall, but from a long-term perspective, they've proven themselves to be a good property manager. It's just whether or not they can replicate that now in the equity space, obviously off a very low base, the equity component of their business.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess we've also got a bit of experience as to what can go wrong with fund managers too, with what's happening with Medallion as well, and certainly some key man risk and all of that kind of stuff in there. But yeah, it'd be one to watch. Very interesting.